Hello there. Welcome back to the Path to Better A1C podcast. I am your host, Jenny Peña, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach and Blood Sugar Bestie. And I am just trying to bring some awareness, light on some topics, and help you balance your blood sugar, regain your energy, lower your A1C, prevent diabetes. And I just love to record. This is like one of the things that I enjoy the most from my business. Now, today's episode 42, Cravings Explained. We're going to talk about cravings, but we're going to go into the biology, the brain, the behavior of it. Now, before we get started, I have something special for you. That is my free blood sugar balancing snacks list. I have revised my list. I have updated it, and it has a amazing collection of quick, satisfying snacks ideas that are going to keep your energy steady and you're going to keep your A1C on track. So you can grab that for free at subscribepage.io/snacks, and I will put the description and all the details on the description of the episode. Now, let's get started about cravings, right? And I think everybody can relate to this. You finish a perfect good lunch, and then suddenly you're craving chocolate, or maybe you're craving chips, and you're not hungry, you just ate. Why does that happen? Right? Like I get a lot of clients. I'm like, why does that happen? I keep eating and it keeps coming back. So, spoiler alert, you're not broken. It's not something that is unusual. Over 90% of people experience food cravings at some point. It is part of being human. Now, the question that we need to dig deeper is to not necessarily if cravings happen, because we know that they happen, is why they happen. And by doing that, then we can understand and troubleshoot and find ways of managing them. So, hunger, let's talk about this. Let's talk about hunger, cravings, and appetite. So, hunger is your body's way of asking for fuel, saying, I need food, I need something to generate energy. Now, appetite is a general desire to eat, right? It's just like, oh, I just have this appetite for this, right? It's a general desire. But cravings, what differentiates it is that intense laser focus urge for specific food, right? That distinction matters because cravings are way more than an empty stomach, right? The appetite and the hunger, they're two different things, but the cravings, again, is that intense feeling. They light up your brain's reward system. So there's a relation with dopamine, right? Dopamine is released, and suddenly that cookie feels irresistible. And actually, like the American Heart Association, and in one of their articles, they noted that just seeing or smelling food can actually trigger that brain activity and the salivation, even heart rate changes. So I live in New York, and there are these, and I don't even want to mention the brand, but there's this brand, this place of cookies that just by passing by, you may not even want a cookie. You're not hungry. But when they're baking the cookies, the smell is so enticing. All of a sudden, you're just craving that cookie. It just sends that signal. So that is technically what happens. Hormones wait a part as well. We have all the triggers like the senses, the smell. Now your brain is imagining it. All of a sudden, your mouth gets watery. But then the hormones also play a part. So we have leptin and serotonin. And if there are some imbalances there, it can actually make your craving stronger. And then also estrogen and progesterone, all these shifts, also cravings can flare up. And there are certain times of the month as well. So you don't even need to be perimenopausal or menopausal. Everybody knows when you're around that time of the month, some cravings actually are. a little bit intensified. And it's because of that. There is a hormonal shift that causes that. And then there is blood sugar. When it dips, your brain shouts for quick fuel. That's why it's so important to keep your blood sugar levels stable, avoiding those huge spikes that eventually end up in huge drops in energy and blood sugar. So, usually, the sugar and the fat are things that play a part in all of this complex system of cravings. Now, there's a fun fact. UCLA researchers even found neurons that push food seeking behavior even without hunger. So your brain is wired to chase these cues. It's like the brain is waiting for it, right? Um, so I find it fascinating, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, it's almost like we are predisposed to react this way. So that's why I'm saying it's not like you're broken. It's not like don't feel like a failure. Don't feel like, oh, I just need willpower. There's a lot of physiological elements to this. Now, again, cravings aren't just biology, right? We just talked a little bit about how the brain reacts, but they're also tied to emotions and environment. And we touched a little bit on the environment because of the smell of the cookies that I mentioned earlier, but there are also emotions tied to it. Stress, boredom, sadness, they can all amplify cravings. And our brains love associations, right? Cake, birthdays, popcorn, movies. Like we associate these foods to certain events. Um, and I was talking to a client the other day and I was telling her, like, okay, like, why is this? Why are you like so attached? She was very attached to this routine of the ice cream. But there was an emotional tie to it um, that went back to when she was a little girl and how it was a reward system. Every time she had the ice cream, it meant like she did well in a class or had a good grade in a test. There was just that tie between the ice cream as a reward. There was that emotional tie, and it was bringing back those memories. And obviously, like her parents are no longer here, and having that ice cream almost brought back those moments spent with her parents, right? Like, so there is an emotional tie to it. And once those links are built, like cravings, they just show up like clockwork because your brain likes repetition, right? If there is a routine that you already have, when you're trying to modify that routine, your brain is going to try to correct you back to, wait a minute, this is not what you typically do. We need to change this. So think about that. And then we have the environment that we touched a little bit on, right? It's craving central. Ads, Instagram reels, vending machines, again, the smell from a bakery. All of these fire up those reward circuits. And sometimes it's social, right? Like your coworker went out to eat with you and orders dessert, and all of a sudden you want it to, right? Like maybe you were clear that you were not going to order that, and all of a sudden now you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, I think I changed my mind. So all of these things are environmental elements that you need to think about. Now, here are also two elements that are amplifiers, things that actually will push the cravings even further. And those are lack of sleep and dehydration. That's why if you come to work with me, the first thing, the very first step, before we even do anything, we go over what is called the wheel of life and we talk about your goals and we talk about like the areas that you want to focus on and we develop a plan and a goal mapping sheet. And when they ask like, okay, like what do you want to work on? I'm like, you know what? Start drinking more water. Can you please track your water and let's talk about that the next time we meet? Because dehydration, it's so like rampant and it impacts so many systems, not just cravings, but it will surely, surely impact that. Because between the dehydration and the lack of sleep, which is another element that a lot of people ignore, poor sleep raises ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, and it actually lowers leptin. Leptin is the fullness hormone. So when you have that combination, cravings feel louder. And if you have that mild thirst, if you're kind of dehydrated, your body will also misinterpret dehydration as hunger. So sometimes I tell the clients, I'm like, well, if you're feeling these cravings, why don't you take a glass of water first? Because that often softens the urge. Let's assess. Maybe you are truly hungry. Maybe it is a craving that requires you to grab that snack. But let's rule these things out first. If you're feeling the craving, grab some water and drink some water and wait a little bit and see how you feel. Be in tune with your body. So here's the thing. Cravings are normal. I want you to understand that they're normal. They don't mean that you're weak. They're just biology, brain, environment all working together. Now, instead of fighting the cravings, right, with shame, we don't want you to feel shame. What if you just got curious about it? And next time you have that craving hits, pause for 60 seconds, name it. Say, what do I really crave? Is it something sweet? Is it something salty? Is it soothing? Is it comfort? Do I want to celebrate a great win that I had? Ask yourself, what's really behind it? Curiosity and awareness gives you power. So, this is the takeaway that I want you to grab hold of. Instead of just dealing with shame and feeling like I don't have any willpower, I can't do this, be curious. So, this coming week, be curious. Every time you have a craving, again, follow these simple steps. Grab some water so that you can rule out the dehydration. Be aware, what type of craving, what is it that I really want? And why do I want it? And be aware of that. And that is going to open up many things. And you're going to be able to clearly see, oh, it's because of that environment. It's because I always do that. It's because this person ordered it. And it's going to be easier for you to tame that and control it. So today we explored why cravings happen. This entire month, we're going to talk about this and we're going to look at different elements. But next week, we're going to dive into sugar and salty cravings and like why some people reach for chocolate and others reach for the chips, right? And what those urges might be telling you, because there may be something else that your body is trying to tell you. And don't forget, your free blood sugar balancing snacks list is waiting at subscribepage.io/snacks. And it's full of grab and go ideas and may even have a little dark chocolate in there. So, again, thank you so much for listening. Remember that cravings aren't a flaw, they're just a part of being human. I hope to see you in episode 43. Bye.